Jimmy.
What's up, buddy?
Good to see you again.
How are you? How you doing?
All right, been a long time, huh?
A long time.
So we worked together,
8 years.
yeah, about 8 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I've been following you religiously on social media, which is awesome.
Thank you, thank you. Thank God for social media.
And you got yourself a new place.
I got room. Finally in my life.
You go from New York City to upstate New York, and you got room to do everything.
I can keep projects going. It's great. I could see the sun. It's amazing.
You're filming too?
Yep. Making videos and everything gets filmed. Every project we do gets filmed.
Yeah. Well, we're going to make a little video too for TV, but we're going to work on this thing. And this is the prototype of what you're thinking?
Yeah, this is the prototype. I made this a few years ago. This is Tennessee birch, sliced about 2 inches thick.
Yeah.
And then pieced together in a sort of a geometric pattern. And I used the sawdust from the cutoffs mixed with resin as the infill.
Very cool. So you get sort of a slab that looks like wood, got all the character right there.
And cuts.
And then you got it framed here in a nice little sleek metal table.
Yep, this is cold rolled steel. I made a tray to pop it in.
So are we going to do the same design here?
We're going to make it smaller. I learned a couple of problems on this size, so we're going to bring the scale down on the wood a little bit. We're going to start with a steel frame, half as big, and the slices are going to be thinner and smaller because I got smaller trees.
All right, so we're going to start with the wood or we're going to start with the metal?
We're going to start with the metal frame. Here we go. This is going to become our table. We got 3/4 inch bar stock for the legs.
Yeah.
We have 17 inches tall. Okay. And this is going to become the frame that goes around the top.
So we got just regular old angle iron?
1 inch angle iron.
Yeah.
You can pretty much get it anywhere.
Okay.
And I notch these corners. I don't typically like to do 45-degree corners when I weld, because when you have two very sharp points right here at the end,
right,
when you go to weld, they kind of melt backwards.
So you just end up with this notch creates what, a butt joint right there?
Basically, kind of like a lap butt joint combination.
Right.
I mean, wood, it would have a specific name. Here, it's just the joint that works.
So when this comes together, this is our tray.
This is our tray.
Beautiful. All right, we're ready to weld?
Yep. All right, I want to hit all the joints I just welded with the grinder. That'll give us a smooth connection to the legs. And then we can weld the legs onto the frame. All right, this is our scrap piece of MDF, which is going to create the bottom of our tray.
Yeah.
And because of the weld bead, I can't get into that corner to grind, and no one's ever going to see it. I ground out material on the MDF.
A lot easier to grind the MDF.
Yep, that's it. So
That's our tray.
And now we have about 1/4 inch.
Wow, that's thin.
We're just creating the illusion, so it's like a veneer.
So we got the wood here. Just something you pulled off the property?
I went out in the back on the 40 acres and cut these down. I got a bunch. I don't know what the species is.
Yeah. And we're going to slice them on the...
Bandsaw. Before we put epoxy in here, I need to seal up this whole trough with hot glue, and that's just so it doesn't leak out. All right, we're going to use this 2-part epoxy. We're going to pour a little puddle in here, and we're going to place our pieces into that puddle. They're going to be secured in there once it dries.
Beautiful.
You could probably try and create a secret message with the skinny ones.
Rorschach test.
Did you ever do anything like this with glass? Tiles or anything? This is basically
Well, you know, so I don't weld, right?
You could easily do the same project without welding.
Right.
Just make a little trough table.
Right. Just like a jigsaw puzzle, see who gets the last piece.
That's it. We let this cure for about 2 hours, and then we'll belt sand it smooth.
Okay, a little bit of time with the belt sander, a little more with the palm sander. Smooth, flat. I love it.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to give it a high gloss. We got this epoxy resin. It's going to pour right on top. We got to mix equal part A and B. I'll show you a trick on how to mix it in the cup.
Okay.
We take a stick and we just give ourselves 2 even dots on the stick, right?
Look at you.
So now we pour up to the one line and then we pour up to the second line.
Very clever.
And that's our mixing stick. Now we mix it. We got to mix it thoroughly, otherwise we're going to have a problem. So we're going to brush it on. See that wood tone popping?
Yeah. It's partly filling the voids.
Yeah, it's definitely going to fill it in. There we go.
It gives it like a appearance of these little pieces of wood floating in there.
Yeah, actually, some of that wood did float.
Yeah.
So that's why it was a little harder to sand them down. They floated in that epoxy we had, that little puddle we put in there. And you'll see some bubbles forming. We don't have to worry about them because this has such a long cure time. It's intended for the bubbles to pop out, but we will coax the bubbles out a little bit with the heat gun.
So this is, oh yeah, that's nice and dry.
Yeah, isn't that pretty?
That is great. So I love that. The geometric patterns, those rings all throughout. That's
Yep.
awesome. So this is done?
It's done. We're going to prep the steel now. There's a little bit of surface on here. We're going to smooth that out. Okay, now we're going to prep the surface with acetone. We want to get all any hand oils or any of the oils from working off of the surface. When these sit in the mill yard, the steel mill yard, they are covered with oil.
Yeah.
You got to pick them up with gloves. This is a chemical blackener. As opposed to paint, which covers up the texture of the steel, it creates a chemical reaction which oxidizes to the color black, or like deep blues, deep blacks. The final step is a spray-on lacquer.
Yep, that lacquer, that's a nice look.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, I like that. In terms of materials, what are we talking? I mean, the steel?
Steel's 25 bucks, but if you know a local machinist, you could probably get this stuff for free. This is cutoffs all day long in a shop like mine.
Well, and then the branches are free cutoffs too, obviously. In terms of the epoxy, what's that?
25 bucks, and you probably could use the same epoxy we bought for the top as for the bottom.
So we're
What'll work?
easily under $75.
Definitely.
Love it.